have got notes though, because I'm not a professional public speaker, so today I didn't really want this all to be about what I did and what I experienced. What I want to do today really is to try and inspire you to pay a little bit more attention to your health, really, perhaps before you lose it, like I do. And obviously if you keep your health and your energy and your vitality until you die, where is he? Then you'll be around to come to networking events, to work, spend time with your loved ones. So I'm going to share a couple of stories. We have only got 10 minutes though, because this is quite a long story. I'm going to pose some questions, and I'm going to let you have some did you knows, things that I learned along the way. Here's the first question then. How do you know you're healthy? A past president of the Royal College of Medicine actually once said, you don't know you're healthy unless you have an autopsy. I don't really want to go that far. So really what we're looking to do is not have any symptoms of anything going wrong, are we? We don't really know that we're healthy, so we've just got to keep trying to do our best. I thought I was healthy when I wasn't even 40 years old, having a shower, found a lump, bad news. And along the way, a mammogram was involved. But is a mammogram prevention? There's your second question. Is a mammogram prevention? Just think about it. So anyway, I didn't really know much about cancer treatment or that journey. I had trained as a nurse, but I had never worked in oncology. So I just started down the route, the surgery. And by the way, when somebody says to you, we'll let you get over the surgery and then we'll get you straight into chemo, that is not informed consent. But I didn't know any better, so I just went down the route. But a bit of a control freak. And I was not prepared to wait and hope that someone else would make everything all right. And more importantly, my daughter was not going to grow up without a mum. So what do I have to do to make sure that it doesn't come back? I'm told it's all removed by the surgery, but what do I do to make sure it doesn't come back? I wanted to get another 55 years, not 5. So I have to weigh up the choices, because we've got treatment which I was finding out more about. Chemotherapy was actually developed from mustard gas. It's very toxic, and radiation is, it's radiation. And remember, I wasn't 40, so I could look forward to living long enough to suffer the consequences of the treatment and die earlier, because I'd had toxic treatment for cancer. So, what do I do? I was working actually when I was diagnosed. I was working as a hypnotherapist. So I understood that if I believed treatment would be bad for me, then it would be. And it's a shame, isn't it, really, that we don't investigate more the placebo effect. So ultimately, anyway, long story short, I did decide that I wasn't going to have any more treatment. And this was over 20 years ago. Not very many people were doing it then, so there weren't the resources that there are now. But I did make that decision to not have any more treatment and take my own path, look for some integrated medical help. But here's another question for you. Why, when I phoned the hospital to say, that's it, I'm not going to do any more treatment, why did I feel like a naughty 8-year-old ringing the head teacher to say I wasn't going back to school? I was an adult and I was quite within my rights to make that decision. Anyway, off I went on a journey that's, I'm still learning now about, things that are good for you, things that are bad for you, allegedly. How do you decide? Learning things about science and medicine and how decisions are made and so on. So I got some integrated help. Obviously that was all private. Did loads of stuff which you can ask me about another time, because we could be here all day and you've got other things to do. But I thought I would tell you a little bit about a couple of things that I learned. And the first, not necessarily the first thing I learned, but LD50. Now this is lethal dose 50%. So in order to get a license for a drug, you have to prove how lethal it is. So you feed your substance to your lab animals until you kill 50% of them. And then you multiply that up for a human body, and that's then your lethal dose. So every drug on the market will be able to kill you at a dose. Okay. So that starts you thinking that, well, things that can't kill you, some natural stuff, some other alternative stuff, they'll never get licensed. People will never put money into it. So lethal dose 50%, that's that one. And conflicts of interest. In America, I know we don't live in America, and it's not as bad here, but doctors in America can buy chemotherapy drugs and sell them wholesale to you. They buy wholesale, they retail to you, or your insurance company. It's not quite as bad here, but doctors are paid to vaccinate you. And talking about vaccination, a very recent study by the Cleveland Clinic in America surveyed all of their staff, over 53,000 of them, who had been vaccinated for the recent flu season and who hadn't. Flu vaccine was minus 27% effective. Just something to think about. I learned about the Cancer Act 1939, which prohibits the publication of any advertisement containing an offer to treat any person for cancer or to prescribe any remedy therefore, or to give any advice in connection with the treatment thereof. So you've got to exercise caution if you're offering to treat anybody or offer a therapy for anybody suffering from cancer or suspected to suffer from cancer, even if those therapies are effective, because you could be fined or criminal. It's criminal offence. Likewise, you can't really talk about vitamin C being the cure for scurvy, even though we know that's true, because vitamin C is not a licensed drug. So these things all started to come into my sphere of attention and made me question some things. One of the other things is that you won't necessarily get the best care for you. You will get the standard of care that is signed off by NICE, being affordable or whatever. So if you are unfortunate enough to need some medical help, there are, you should be questioning things, because there may be treatments that could be potentially very good for you that you won't be told about because they're not the standard of care here. So it's pretty depressing so far, isn't it? But I'm still here. So if we go back and think about some things. Anybody invest in the future financially, put some savings away, invest in a pension plan? Yeah? Yeah. And it grows, doesn't it? So if I gave you a penny today and I doubled it every day for a month, any idea how much money you'd have on day 30?
How long?
Yeah?
5 million.
Yeah. So what if you actually put as much effort into your future health, and every little thing that you did, you changed something? Maybe that also would grow, and because your body doesn't work, things don't work in isolation. Everything is affected by everything. Power of the mind affects your physical body, and so on. So all of those things that you do, it could add up. And why is it that maybe some of us focus more on our financial future than our healthy future? Did you know, apparently, recent figures, fewer than 1 in 10 people reach their 70th birthday fit and healthy, free of disease. More than 90% suffer from at least one chronic health problem or are already cognitively impaired. I'm glad I didn't have a pint. Showing signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. And a healthy diet is the one thing that separates the healthy agers from the vast majority, says a team of researchers from Canada, the US and Denmark. By the time people reach the age of 75, the difference is even more marked. So what I'm trying is just get you thinking about, you know, it's the old, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. But if you didn't do it then, do it now. Don't wait until you're 70 and you think, oh, really struggling now, I wish I'd changed a few things. So what happened with me, I made lots of changes. It's a long story, and there's lots of anecdotes, and some of it's quite interesting, some of it's very funny, some of it's a bit, I'm not sure I would have done that, but I did, and what happened? Well, the first thing really was that I lost a load of weight. I was actually asked if I was going to the gym, because I was doing really well. The hair grew back really quickly and thick. So that was nice. I had to buy a load of new clothes though. I had been having chest infections every single winter with a prescription for antibiotics, and that stopped. I have never done that since. In fact, I don't think I've ever had another infection that I haven't treated, minor that I haven't treated myself. So no antibiotics. Obviously no, well, I say obvious, I did not have and have not had to this day any further recurrence of disease. I was asthmatic, not terribly bad. I'd never been hospitalised with it, but I would always carry an inhaler with me. And every so, maybe not on a daily occurrence, but I would use the preventative inhaler and then the blue aspirin, Ventolin. And that stopped completely in more recent years. Sometimes when you're improving your health, it takes a long time to make changes. If you've taken 10 years to build up a chronic disease to the point you are now, what makes you think it's going to be solved overnight? Supporting your health and improving it is a long, slow process. You just keep doing things. And I hadn't quite knocked the asthma on the head, and I decided that I'd got to do something about it. And actually, I found out about the Bucheco breathing technique, if you're interested to look into it. And anytime I had a little bit of an attack coming on, I would do that and it would just go. So I started being able to deal with attacks, drop the inhalers, and now I don't even think about it for several years now. Allergies, I used to be allergic to all sorts of things all year round. I've got to have a box of tissues in every single room of the house. And now I'm down to about 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, the worst of the grass season. So that's, out of 52 weeks, I'm down to 2 or 3, and I'm hoping to knock that on the head this year. Quercetin is an antihistamine, and lots of vitamin C. And of course, I don't go to the doctors. Modern medicine is great. If I was in a car smash now, I would want a surgeon. Thank you very much. Modern medicine is brilliant at sewing you back together again. Chronic diseases, not so much. These days we are putting plasters on symptoms. We're not really helping people to recover their health. We're dealing with symptoms. So I generally tend to look up things and deal with stuff myself, and very much prevention. I do take quite a lot of supplements and do various things to help myself. And I'm continuing to learn. This is 20 odd years later now, and read a lot, podcasts, I subscribe to magazines. Got a library at home if anybody ever interested in reading. Some very, very interesting stuff out there that unfortunately doesn't get reported in mainstream media. So what I would say is look after your body, because it is the only place you have to live. So I am launching my wellness club to try and help some other people make some action, small steps, one step at a time, just change one thing, talk about things together, community, sharing ideas, sharing things that we've discovered, sharing homegrown produce. I've got too many tomato plants have germinated, more than I need. So if you're interested in coming along, that's the end of this week, not this week, this month. So that, in a nutshell, has hardly scratched the surface, but that's what happened to when I told my doctor bye-bye.